May I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Matthew Holmes is a proud Southerner, author who honors his Confederate ancestors. Just like his ancestors, he continues to be a fire eater, or in other words, a very devoted Southern nationalist and hell-bent on Southern secession of the illegally occupied Confederate States of America. Illegally held hostage by the United States of America. We live in a time corrupt politicians blatantly ignore the Constitution and do everything to dismantle our beloved Southern culture. They continue to destroy our monuments to our gallant Confederate heroes. They continue to keep our people in poverty and do everything to do away with our Southern accent. This, my friends, is what is called Southern cultural genocide, and it must be stopped by divorcing the United States of America in what we call secession by becoming a separate nation. Matthew Holmes is a proud Southerner, a proud Southern author who honors his Confederate ancestors.
Matthew Holmes is a proud Southerner, a proud Southerner author who honors his Confederate ancestors. Just like his ancestors, he continues to be a fire eater, or in other words, a very devoted Southern nationalist and hell-bent on Southern secession of the illegally occupied Confederate States of America. Illegally held hostage by the United States of America. We live in a time corrupt politicians blatantly ignore the Constitution and do everything to dismantle our beloved Southern culture. They continue to destroy our monuments to our gallant Confederate heroes. They continue to keep our people in poverty and do everything to do away with our Southern accent. This, my friends, is what is called Southern cultural genocide, and it must be stopped by divorcing the United States of America. We call secession by becoming a separate nation. Matthew Holmes is a proud Southerner, a proud Southern author who honors his Confederate ancestors.
Okay. Two back-to-back songs created by me taking the words from Matthew Holmes' own very mouth and using Suno.com AI music creation. It is a phenomenal $8 investment. Folks, you gotta get it if you want to make some music and then have an enjoyable day. It really is something else. I'm just here for a very short, very, very short blast out, unless someone comes in and wants to chit chat. But tomorrow, Thursday, September the 4th, 2025, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, please join Jenn, the homeschooling mom, Woodruff, and myself as we give honor to the author, Matthew Holmes, a friend of mine and a true Southern patriot. He has written 8 books. He has projects for at least, he said, 30 more in the up here in the works, waiting to come out from his brain, his mouth, his pencil, and paper. And that's what is coming tomorrow. Tomorrow. We are, Jen and I are going to be talking to Matthew concerning the second book that Jen and I have both read and thoroughly enjoyed, which is Blood in the Mountains, The Life of Private Nathan Holmes in the 63rd Virginia Infantry Regiment, Company A. And that's it right there, folks. And that's the person that the book is written about, him and his family. I'll read you a real quick blast out from here. Blood in the Mountain takes place in the mountains of Southwest Virginia and Appalachia during the War of Northern Aggression. This is based on the wartime experience of my fourth, being his fourth great-grandfather, Private Nathan Holmes, who served in Washington County, Virginia militia from 1861 to 1863. And from there, he was then transferred to the 63rd Virginia Infantry, McMahon's Regiment, Company A. Let's see. And Captain William L. Hunter's company. He enlisted in Aberdeen, Virginia at the Washington County, Virginia courthouse, and he served from 1863 to 1865. His unit had fully disbanded in the March of 1865 in Bentonville, North Carolina, where they consolidated with the 54th Virginia Infantry Battalion. Nathan Holmes returned home after he was wounded at the Battle of Bentonville, North Carolina. His son, Private Alexander Holmes, served at age 15 in the Saltville, Virginia Artillery to defend Saltville, Virginia. In 1864, he enlisted in 1863 at Glade Spring Valley, Virginia, with his uncle, while his father was in the 63rd Virginia Infantry, Company A, fighting against the Yankees in the mountains of eastern Tennessee, northern Georgia. Nathan died in 1897 in the town of Saltville, Virginia, in Washington County, Virginia. That is the book. Very well written. It is written first hand in the voice of his ancestors. There are images in here of various Fold 3 documentation, some pictures, and so forth. I'm telling you, you can buy a professionally done book, okay, and you can pay $20, $30, $40, $50 or more for those books. Matthew uses a computer-generated WordPerfect to write his books, and he uses Amazon to print the books for him as they are purchased. So a little bit different format that you may be used to, but get beyond the formatting. The words, the content, the storyline takes you and brings you into the action and places you right there with him. Maybe not necessarily the gun in your hand, but certainly places you in the combat, in the battlefields, fighting side by side, and obviously hoping and expecting the best, and sometimes the worst for he and his fellow soldiers. Folks, you gotta get the book. It is really good. Uh, I have more books on the way. I understand they'll be here in like a week and a half. I can't wait for them to show up. I have been promoting the Hell in the Cell book, which I did a broadcast with Matthew and Jenn already. This book I've already read. Is a bigger book than the Blood in the Mountains is as far as content of pages. Again, I read this in 5-6 days. I am on my 5th day with this book, almost done with it. A very, 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 very good read. The other book, the one that we'll be doing next, unless the other books show up faster, because Matthew really wants us to do the chemtrails over Dixie as soon as possible. So once that book gets into my hands and I start reading it, Jen already has it. She bought that ahead of time. She kind of skipped ahead. So she already has that book. The next book, if we don't get that book in time, will be A Spirit of Vengeance. Okay. This is be the 3rd book in the series of the broadcast. I'm trying to average these broadcasts every other week. This one here, The Spirit of Vengeance, is about his 4th grade uncle, Christian Miller III, a blind man who had lost his eyesight from a logging accident when he was younger. Christian Miller III was murdered by a Yankee soldier named Joseph Provost, who had been a private in the 1st New York Volunteer Cavalry Company A. He murdered Christian Miller III in cold blood in the mountains of Western Virginia, which is now West Virginia, and his murderer was hung in Morgan County in 1864, a few days after Miller's birthday. The brothers of Christian Miller III and his half-brothers and his sons enlisted in the Southern Army for revenge of his death. What happened to him is a U.S. Yankee war crime that was long forgotten about, and his death was never, ever acknowledged in history books. His death, however, made the newspapers in Ohio County, West Virginia, in the Daily Register. However, the local newspapers around Morgan County, West Virginia, talked about the cold-blooded murder of Mr. Christian Miller on his family farm on April 8, 1864, days after it occurred. The Wheeling newspaper, the Daily Register, wrote an article about the death months later on October 7, 1864, on the day that the first battle of Southfield, Virginia had occurred in southwest Virginia in southern Appalachia. So this one here is a book about vengeance for his uncle, Christian Miller III. So this should be a very interesting read once I get into it. So folks, please join Jenn Woodruff, Matthew Holmes, the author, and myself tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for about an hour-long broadcast. It's going to be formatted along the lines of the last one, where we, Jenn and I, ask questions of Matthew about the book, why he wrote it, how long did it take, where did he get his subject matter, where did he get his subject matter, things like that. Okay. I really hope to see you folks there. I think it's going to be a great 1 hour. Please bring, I can talk, good Lord. Please bring your favorite cup of whatever, your beverage. This is my 5th cup of coffee. So whether you drink coffee or sweet tea, like it's mentioned so many times in his books, or, alcoholic beverage, whatever, and bring your favorite snack to eat. Now, bring questions. Please be part of the show. You can ask questions. We'll see them. and we'll get your interaction with the author, Jenn and myself. It'd be a great time, folks. It really would be. Coffee's good. So, a couple of things for myself. You'll be seeing more of me on my broadcasts. I'll be doing some stuff for myself as far as doing videos about battles, reenactments, bringing in content from individuals who have sent me their request for me to do certain things for them. The reason why I'm doing them now is because I have left Dave Globin's Boogie with the Bow broadcast. That frees up at the least 5 hours, 5 hours in the week, if not more, because of the prep work that I normally would do prior to the shows coming on board. So that time is freed up, allows me to do what I want to do with my broadcast concerning my other responsibilities. So you'll be seeing no more of me on Dave Glowin's Boogie the Bowl. But please, I'm not exactly sure, what days he's going to have broadcasts anymore. I know he's having issues with his computers and so forth, but the normal format for him is Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. and Tuesday and Thursdays at 7 p.m. So at least look to see if he goes live, and then please join him there. I'll be doing a broadcast next week for Bill Muckler's book. He is also an author. Hang on one second. Bill Muckler was a captain in the United States Marines, and I think it's like started in 2014. He wrote this book, 2020: A Clear Vision for Our Future, and then he followed that up with 2020: A Clear Vision for America. These books can be bought on Amazon. I believe they're $20 each. Okay, don't hold me to it because I'm not quite sure, but I think that's about the right price for it. After he wrote these two, he then wrote 6 Soft Targets. I read this in like 5 days. It was a phenomenal read, along like with Matthew Holmes's books. It takes you, it grabs you, it brings you in, and boy, is there a shocker at the end, which I was not expecting. So I'll be doing a broadcast about this. Bill Muckler, unfortunately, will not be on the show because of age and so forth. So what I'll be doing, I'll be taking some clips from videos that he was on, because he did his own show back in the day. So I'll be taking some videos from them and then interacting them with my own broadcast. What I'm doing right now is, since I finished reading that book, I'm also reading this book off and on with Matthew Holmes' book. So I'm starting to read this book here. I think it's going to be very interesting for the lead up to 6 Soft Targets. He had so much material left over from the production of 6 Soft Targets that he has promised, with his health and so forth, he has promised to do a follow-up to 6 Soft Targets. I hope he's able to do that, because that's going to be a phenomenal read as well. So with that, and my promise to do the videos for the South, Matthew Holmes, my own personal thing, genealogy. I do have several clients who are still very much amazed how much information I found about their families, specifically about the Confederacy, because all my clients are from the South, and they just cannot believe all the stuff I'm finding about their ancestors. I am a member of the Carolina Grey Ghosts, where I hold the honorable rank of colonel. I am been given their position as communications officer. I am also working with the SIA, the Southern Independence Association, where I am um, um, going to be helping to hopefully get the word out to congressmen and senators about a peaceful secession of the southern states. With that, I'm going to play a remix of my song that I created for myself for The Gray Ghost. And I hope you enjoy this one as well. So let me get this fired up. And then after that, I will be saying my goodbyes if no one happens to pop in. So here we go. Not that one.
Well, let me tell you about a man named Randall Rhodes. He was born and raised in the north, but he loved the southern way of life, and he'd fight to the death for the southern cause. He marched on down to the fields of cotton where he met up with General Mosby's gray ghost. The general gave Randall the rank of colonel so he could fight with the brave men in gray. Now Colonel Randall Rhodes fights for the bonny blue flag, and that's what Colonel Randall Rhodes brings. He brought fire, he brought freedom, he brought love, he brought war. He said to hell with the stars and stripes, I'm fighting for the stars and bars. And to hell with your war of aggression, I'm fighting for the war of independence. And he'd march on down to the fields of cotton for a southern nation. And the gray ghost fights for the bonny blue flag, and that's what Colonel Randall Rhodes brings.
Oh, yes. Indeedy. That's what Colonel Randall Rhodes brings. So, no one in the comment section. This is pretty sad. But that's okay. I understand. It is almost dinner time for me as well. Anyways, so folks, don't forget tomorrow, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, be here with Jenn, the homeschooling mom, myself, Matthew Holmes, talking about his book, Blood in the Mountains. And with that, my friends, I would say have a great rest of your night and see you tomorrow.